Councilmember Yaroslavsky.
Here.
Councilmember McOsker.
Here.
Councilmember Bloomfield.
Bloomfield present.
Councilmember De Leon. Councilmember Rahman. 3 members and a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Colleagues, we have 6 items today. I recommend approving items 1, 2, 5, and 6 on consent. Any concerns, questions, anything to pull? Okay, great. We're going to move on then to public comment. Ms. Cadigan-Hurd, would you please read instructions on how to give public comment at today's meeting?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the public will have 1 minute per item to speak, up to 2 minutes total, and 1 minute for general public comment. We will tell you when your time is up. When speaking on the agenda items, you must be on topic. Our goal is to get through as many speakers as we can. If you are not speaking on topic, or if we cannot tell whether you're speaking on a specific agenda item, you will get one brief warning from me or the chair. If you do not immediately get clearly on topic or again stray off topic, the chair will cut you off and you will forfeit the rest of your speaking time, and we will move on to the next speaker. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to call some names. You wrote something down that is offensive. I'm not going to read it. Goat, Mike Greenspan, Audit LA, Nuri, Bendover, Loriaja Hernandez, Dr. Truth Bay, Duarte De Leon, Audit LA, Lauren Akiem, and Sabrina Silver. You can come on up in any order you would like to come speak. Oh. I'm not 9, so. I'm not 9.
Exactly.
Not ascribing anything. All right, whoever, if I called your name, you feel free to come up.
Audit LA. I am going to speak on public comment and all comments. Public comment and all items.
You have 3 minutes.
All right, thank you, Mr. McOsker. You were here on time early. You always set a good example to the rest, and I appreciate you for that. Ms. Rahman's not here. She owes me an apology. That's on topic because her name's listed here. Actually, I'm just going to go to public comment because I really don't know. I didn't get a chance to really. Okay. I'm here because this is energy, right? I'm losing energy coming here time and time again asking for the same old nonsense. Although it's not nonsense. What they're doing is nonsense. I cannot get in or out of a vehicle for 3 city blocks, okay? And nothing's being done about it. You know, I believe the city has sent some kind of little notice like, please remove these things, these barriers to the ADA community. I doubt that they even worded it that strongly. And they are snubbing them, okay? And they're not doing it. So what is next? Like I said, I had to spend a lot of energy to come here to talk about just asking the Church of Scientology, and I use that term loosely with them, to please abide by the laws. They are doing all kinds of things like building things, doing their winter wonderland things without any permits, proper permits, without any OSHA regulations being followed. There's just so much going on, and the city just, like, no one listens, except Mr. McOsker. He listens, right? I know he does. I mean, that's why you're my favorite. Like, you're number 1, okay? He really is. Ms. Padilla's she's gaining ground, though, because you're teaching her. But please teach Ms. Rahman. She owes me an apology. But anyway, so please please somebody tell the cult of Scientology that they can be whatever they want. If they want to go do whatever they want behind their doors, as long as it's law-abiding, that's their business. But they have to abide by the laws out in the public. Thank you.
Person. Good morning. I would like to speak on everything.
1 minute for general public comment, 2 minutes for the items.
Start with item number 1 is about the appointment for the advisory committee. I am here to go against this appointment. is because I disagree with the county, with the city's practices that, this is my friend, I appoint him. This is all started by the council member Blue Mandingo. I wish that we chose the most qualified person to serve on the committee. Not because you are my ex-girlfriend, you are my ex-husband, and therefore I appoint you to the committee. We need meritocracy selection. We need performance evaluation. And then instead of just each council member just randomly appoint whatever to the committee, advisory to the this commission, that committee, I disagree with that, some sort of a favoritism. And then such a Hamas culture from Blue Mandingo, it has to stop, because meritocracy is the true American culture, not because you are Hamas and you are superior, just because you are Blue Mandingo. Item number 2 is about water board, Board of the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California. I have a huge concern about water, is because right now I don't have a choice but purchasing those bottled water. But if our council member, especially council member Blue Mandingo, if we can make sure all of the tap water are safe to drink, I can save $200 every single month. I can use that $200 to pay my tuition. But right now, I'm not allowed to go to school because I have to purchase so-called clean water from a supermarket, from a grocery store. But in any other countries, Korea, Japan, I spend $0 on the water because the tap water is okay, it's healthy to drink. So I can save a lot of money. I don't have to live on the street because of those Hamas Blue Mandingo. For the general public comment, since this is the environment, this is the environment committee, I want to ask our council member, Hamas Blue Mandingo, when you walk around the city of Los Angeles, do you smell like pee? Do you smell like poop? So when you are some sort of environmental committee member, does those feces, urine on the street, so they are not part of your concern? So you don't worry about those environment? So every single homeless, they can just randomly taking a piss, taking a poop, on the street. That's not an environmental issue? I understand you support Hamas. I understand you support Palestinian just because you're from Hamas. But at the same time, every single person in city of Los Angeles, whether you are illegal, either you are legal, we want a clean air to breathe. We want a clean street. We don't want to, around our sidewalk, on the street, on the skid-row, filled with feces and urine. Please, Hamas, Blue Mandingo, help us. I cannot breathe.
Which items would you like to speak on?
Okay. Mike Greenspan, UCLA football sucks dick, all items in public comment, like this
2
one.
minutes for the items, 1 minute for public comment.
Okay. Now, one of the things I want to talk about, after all, to the winner goes the spoils, and Mayor Karen Bass, through Unisys, is appointing Ms. Angelica Perez to the Community Forestry Advisory Committee at the request of Council Member Hernandez as the Council District 1 primary representative. Now, if Cedillo had been there, well, who would he have appointed? Probably would have appointed Debbie Kim as his deputy he was fucking. That's probably who he would have appointed. Now, let's look at another thing about the appointment of Carl Douglas to the Metropolitan Water District, Southern California Board of Directors. Now, I thought when Garcetti was mayor, he appointed this guy, Glenn Day, this, feminine guy John Walsh used to tell us about. And I saw Glenn Day speak here, and yes, he sure was as feminine as Walsh mentioned. We're basically talking about Mayor Garcetti's boyfriend. Is he still on this committee or not? when you're in there, you appoint people you want. It's always about appointing your friends. You don't really look at their qualifications. You look at, well, gee, do I play golf with them? Do I go hunting with them or fishing with them or out to dinner? Or is she in our Mahjong group? But you never look at the qualifications of these people. It's just warm bodies, filling a spot, making it look good, kind of like when Garcetti appointed Glenn Dake to this thing. Now the water obligation bonds, gee whiz, we don't have any money already, so what are we going to do? We're going to bond ourselves and go further into debt. Let me go to my public comment, because God's an environmentalist. And what do I mean by that? Read your Bible. Good old Leviticus chapter 11. There's things that we eat as food as a society, and they're not food. They clean up the environment. Shellfish. Well, here is Friday. And what do they do on Fridays? They serve clam chowder. But where is this clam chowder now being served? How can I say it? A Jew will serve you any kind of garbage just to make a buck over there at Canner's Deli or Brent's or anywhere else. You're not supposed to be eating it. It cleans up the earth. But yum, yum, let's eat garbage. Well, go ahead. Eat all the garbage you want. Those doctors like to live in Brentwood. Their wife likes to go to Bloomingdale's shopping. The princess cunt daughter goes to Brandeis, and you pay by eating garbage. If you're going to serve clam chowder in a Jewish deli, serve it with a side of queer rabbi cum. Queer rabbi cum, queer rabbi cum. Have some with your clam chowder.
Good afternoon. My name is Lauren Akima, and I'm the Climate Co-Director for the Los Angeles Alliance for a New Economy. Thank you to here to speak on item 3, and thank you to the council, to DWP, and to LA Sanitation for working on continued progress on the wastewater recycling project for the city, which, as y'all know, is very crucial for LA to have adequate water supplies in the future. Along with Metropolitan's project, it could be about 1/3 of the regional water needs. And we know that this is a significant investment, but are heartened to see in UCLA's recent analysis of this project, where they modeled thousands of scenarios, that this project would be able to help avoid a GDP impact of $81 billion over the next century, while at a cost of only $7 billion. So comparatively to $81 billion, that's a significant preservation of our resources, and they also found it would more than double our local water resilience, help avoid shortages of 1 million acre-feet of water, and reduce our earthquake-related risks of water shortage by 97%. So this also could create thousands of union jobs, so please keep working on this, and thank you very much for your consideration.
Hi, good evening. So my name is Dr. Truth Bay. I'm a policy analyst. And I wanted to speak on agenda, public comment, and agenda number 2.
Okay, you have 1 minute for public comment, 1 minute for the agenda item.
Okay. So I want to talk about the appointment of Carl Douglas, Metropolitan Water District, Southern California. I think it's well-deserved. He works as a civil rights attorney, if it's the same Carl Douglas, you know, it's not specific, but I assume so. Johnny Cochran firm. So if he is appointed this position to really focus on the rights of the Black and brown communities in which the water, the filters are deplorable, especially in South LA, SPA 6. We definitely need someone to do oversight for the households, as again, clean water is something that is not afforded to many families. And we need to have a way where they can have filters available for them for free. I live in the most deplorable district of all the districts, CD 8, so we definitely need more manpower to oversee for the community. Was that 2 minutes? Oh, I got 1 more minute, okay. So overall,
I would like to see some changes. Again, I'm advocating for CD8 primarily for South LA, and I would like to see the environment change, the environment of cigarette smoke dispensaries to be replaced with fresh, clean air, you know, like Santa Monica does, you know, West Hollywood. So just keep that in mind. But overall, I do want to say thank you for Carl's appointment, and look to see more good people in that position to be appointed. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Emily Gable-Luddy. I'm speaking on item 5 and general public comment.
You have 1 minute for the item, 1 minute for general public comment.
February 24, the council approved a motion for Phase 4 directed at DOT, BSS, and BOE to report back within 6 to 9 months. DOT responded on October 22nd, but the other departments have not yet responded, which is frankly disappointing. The council called for a continuous segment with an outlet on Forest Lawn Drive. LADOT now proposes a dead end well east of Forest Lawn Drive with no outlet. Bikes will have to turn around and go back. This gap will exist for years. The city-sponsored gap is unsafe and unfair to users, especially equestrians. It is piecemealing a project. There are no outlets in this area. Right now, the existing river bike path is poorly maintained with no safety warning signs, and the fence is cut regularly. These costs balloon to $9 million. That's $18,000 for every 10 feet of bike path. The project will continue with rising costs and significant challenges. I'm going to move my speech to public comment. Not the least, there is a related project to this project, also called the LA River Bike Path Phase 4, a multi-million-dollar, multi-jurisdiction study, including NEPA, and the re-engineering design of the Forest Lawn outlet. This new project carries the same name as the LA River Bike Path. It is unclear from DOT's memo how these projects relate. DOT's memo calls a special study, but provides no useful information. We urge council to halt Phase 4 until a responsible, continuous, and full design is in place. We recommend further discussion on how to reprogram the grant funding. A less costly alternative exists that would provide a continuous, shaded, pleasant off-street segment connecting Zoo Drive to Forest Lawn Drive and then onto the West Valley Greenway at the LA River. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Sabrina Silver. I'm a member of the LA Equine Advisory Committee. I'm speaking today as an individual and frequent horse rider of Griffith Park, and I'd like to speak on general public comment and on item 5, the Phase 4 LA River Bike Path.
You have 1 minute for general public comment, 1 minute for the item.
Thank you. Please do not accept or file the Phase 4 report. Instead, please open it for discussion or reject it. 100% of riders west of the 5 and north of the 134 need to cross over the LA River and under the 134 to enjoy riding the park's 50 miles of trails, and all will be affected by Phase 4. Imagine it's a beautiful day with a crisp breeze. You're heading into Griffith Park to horse ride on the trails. Maybe you're a seasoned equestrian or you've rented horses for an outing with your family and kids. There is one route across the Mariposa Bridge, recently added to the National Register of Historic Places for its importance to equestrians. Then through one of 2 tunnels under the 134, which you access from a narrow strip of land between the river and the freeway, the same sliver of land proposed for Phase 4. You can feel your horse moving rhythmically. Suddenly, 1,000 pounds of power under you tenses, spins, and bolts. Okay, and now I'll move to the public comment. A cyclist has sped past too closely, triggering your horse's flight response, sending the horses into a panic. A dangerous and potentially deadly situation for everyone. To be safe, any bike path must leave the area east of the historic equestrian easement owned by Recon Parks. The geography for the proposed route is not wide enough for safe design. In fact, it creates unsafe conditions for stakeholders with conflicting needs. This project will make it harder and more dangerous for equestrians to safely use Griffith Park. Please reopen this for discussion or reject it. Thank you very much. Oh, and if you have any questions, I'm available. Oh, also, the Equine Advisory Committee filed with the public clerk a comment on the 21st, I believe, and I only have one copy of it, so I'm not sure. Oh, okay.
Yes. So now I get all the goddamn fucking items and general fucking comment.
1 minute for general public comment, 2 minutes for the items.
Now, who's Angelic Perez? What the hell is the Forest Advisory Committee? What the hell do you do with the fucking Forest Advisory Committee? Blah bleep and bleal plants trees in CD3. The homeless take and tear it out. What's the Forest Advisory doing about that? What a waste of fucking time. Fiscal statement, financial, non-Semitic, community impact statement, financial disclosure, background pending. Remember the Moni Cow Rodriguez rule? If there's no motherfucking background check, she won't vote for the candidate. Now we got Carl Douglas. Remember he ran into a little roadblock last time he was here on a commission appointment? No background, pending, financial disclosure, but not, you don't finish the job. You're like Donald Trump. Blah bleep and blealed is to blame for this. This is legal liability for the city. You're appointing people to vote on shit and you don't have their fiscal fucking financial documents or Form 700s and their background checks. What happens if they're crazy? What happens if they're involved in something? And Bob Liebenbleel just fucking votes for this shit, and then these people get sued and the city gets sued. That's why you do your backgrounds. The backgrounds aren't done. You don't pass any of these fucking people. Don't you see what Moni Rodriguez is doing, Bob? Don't you see? She's getting ready to rat to the FBI. That's why she goes every time on these things and goes, I can't vote for these people unless all these backgrounds are done. You see why she's doing that? She thinks she gives a fucking shit about it? Somebody probably tapped her on the shoulder and said, excuse me, Miss Cow. And she went, we're from the FBI. We'd like to talk to you about some of these background checks. Now we get to general comment. I got my goddamn DWP bill, Bob. Water is so fucking expensive now, it costs more than a fucking car payment, Bob. And it's because of KKK Katie. And it's because of her husband's mother not having an abortion that we're here today with these bills. You see these fucking bills, how much they are? 100 cubic feet of water, 740 gallons, 1175 plus taxes. Are you out of your fucking mind? We just had a record amount of rainfall. I own 2 water wells. We're drowning in the water. We're literally releasing it downstream, and you guys are raising the fucking prices. I don't get it, Bob. Are you lying to us, Bob? Is that what you're doing? But I'll tell you one thing. Donald Trump's going to appoint a new U.S. attorney. They're going to come in here. They're going to indict more council members. Are you cheating us on the water, Bob? Or can you lower the rates, Bob? Lower the goddamn water rates.
All right, it looks like there are no more speakers in the queue. We're going to close public comment. We're ready to vote on the consent items, which are 1, 2, 5, and 6. I move approval of those items.
Madam Chair, is it the intent of the committee for item 6 to approve the recommendation from the City Attorney's Office as detailed in the confidential report?
Yes.
Councilmember Yaroslavsky?
Yes.
Councilmember McCosker?
Yes.
Councilmember Blumenfield?
Aye.
3 ayes and items 1, 2, 5, and 6 are approved.
Excellent. Let's turn now to item 3. Mr. Sutton-Wells, would you please read the item into the record?
Item number 3 is a discussion item, continued from June 28, 2024. It's the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power and Bureau of Sanitation's verbal update relative to the progress with the collaboration on regional infrastructure to support the city's 2035 local water targets.
Thank you. I'd like to invite our Sanitation General Manager, Barbara Romero, to the table, along with Anselmo Collins from DWP. Welcome. I think you all have a video for us to start. Is that right? Okay, great. Can we play that?
Creating a new local water source is huge. That is very exciting and very important because it is important for us to be locally resilient.
The city of LA imports around 90% of the water that we serve on a daily basis to our customers. However, because of climate change, we realize that that is not sustainable anymore.
About mega drought,
and we have to find new, innovative ways to continue to provide sustainable, safe water to our customers. For us, the way to do that is by implementing recycled water projects.
The key objectives of this project is to take water that is currently used primarily in the golf courses and et cetera, and upgrade it even further to produce this highly purified water. We have our initial treatment process that exists today at the Tillman plant. What we're doing is expanding to a whole new facility that is going to take the water from Tillman into advanced treatment. We'll be taking that water through a microfiltration process, then on into reverse osmosis, and then to ultraviolet advanced oxidation. And then from there, final disinfection before it is sent over into the groundwater aquifer. It then serves the entire network of the city of Los Angeles.
We're talking about one project that's going to provide up to 20 million gallons of water per day that we're going to use to recharge the San Fernando Basin. And by being able to recharge it, it would allow us then to use that water later on in years when we have droughts.
We have been doing recycled water for over 70 years, so the technology's there. Now it's an opportunity to upgrade and do this advanced treatment process here at this facility.
Let's face it, this is the water that we're going to be drinking, our kids are going to be drinking, and perhaps our grandchildren are going to be drinking as well. So it's in all our best interest to make sure that we have the best quality water possible for the future generations.
We have to ensure that we have safe, clean drinking water available for our residents and that we can manage it here locally.
That's this whole paradigm shift and the understanding that, look, we can do more. The regulations have come with it, the technology has come with it, the will of the people has come with it.
We already have done this at Terminal Island in San Pedro. There's other cities like Ventura County. Our neighbors in San Diego and Orange County have been doing it for a couple of decades.
So we can see that living through these droughts and needing to find a solution for that resiliency has started to drive us to a point where we're now seeing it being implemented.
The LA Groundwater Replenishment Project is one very important piece of our recycled water program. But the city of LA has bigger goals. We're actually looking at developing additional projects along with LA Sanitation. One of them is to maximize the use of the recycled water that will be produced at the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant. Not only does it provide a sustainable, reliable source of water for Los Angeles, but also it allows the opportunity to generate great paying jobs that hopefully will go to folks in the local community so that we can improve not only water supply, but also the everyday lives of these people.
I am seeing so much excitement with the staff. They really understand the need to create a sustainable future, and they're excited about their ability to contribute. And what I'm so proud about is our partnership with the Department of Water and Power. And I think that's what makes it so exciting to see it actually coming to fruition because of all the hard work that everybody has put into bringing it all together.
That is a significant investment and advancement to ensure that the residents don't have to think about it.
So, good afternoon, Barbara Romero, General Manager of Valley Sanitation and Environment. We just wanted to just show you that video, like we were working on it, and you could see that it doesn't even say Pure Water LA yet. So, but it just demonstrates that DCT for us is kind of a blueprint of what we're looking to do for our Hyperion and all the other projects that in order to meet our aggressive water goals. And including, like for DCT, one of the things that we included in that is money for the next 30 years in terms of for maintenance and operations in our agreement. We also, the project is over 750 million, but we, you know, sanitation was able to get like 224 million from an EPA, from a funding source, and then DWP.
We recently received additional funding also from the federal government. Bureau of Reclamation just a couple of days ago announced round 2 of the large-scale water recycling project funding. We initially had gotten 30 million a couple of months ago. We were just told we got another 30 million. So we've actually been able to secure over $400 million in outside funding to pay for the project at Tillman. So I think that's a great testament to the great work. And I'll give all the credit to my staff. They've been working really hard, and Barbara's staff, at identifying sources of funding so that we can minimize the financial impact to our ratepayers.
Excellent.
Yeah, and so just to close on DCT, we're looking to have an event in hopefully mid-December that will be inviting you all to come and celebrate and see the progress that is there.
Yeah, so I think the video is just a great example of the good work that we can do, the two agencies working together, which takes us to the next frontier for us, which is really Pure Water LA. The last time that staff presented to this committee on an update, I believe that's when it was revealed that we merged the two programs. It used to be Operation Next, Hyperion 2035, now it's Pure Water Los Angeles. That is a very common term used for portable reuse projects. You'll hear things like Pure Water Los Angeles, Pure Water Southern California, Pure Water San Diego, and others. So we merged them, and I think that's been great. We have a single unified mission and vision. We have shared goals that we developed together, and now we're moving on to getting the work done. So right now, what we're working on is the completion of the master plan. I believe at the last update, we talked about the master plan was in progress. We're around 90% done with the master plan. The expectation is that by the end of this calendar year, so in the next month and change, we're going to have the master plan completed. The master plan is going to look at a variety of things. It's not going to give us all the answers to everything, but it's certainly going to be identifying, for example, a different range of scenarios that we need to look at. I think you've been informed in the past that Pure Water LA, the goal is to do two things, is to do indirect potable reuse and direct potable reuse. In other words, putting water in the ground to recharge the basins, but also sending water to our filtration plant, and that's called direct potable reuse. So we're looking at the range of scenarios and the cost. We're looking at identifying potential rate impacts it could have, as well as funding strategies that we're going to use. We're looking at partnerships. We're looking at phasing, because we recognize that this program is quite expensive, and that phasing is most likely going to need to be done. Identifying major milestones that we need to meet in order to ensure that we stay on track. And lastly, identifying triggers or off-ramps if for some reason we decided that we wanted to change course. The master plan, like I said, is 90% complete. It'll be done by the end of the year. What it means for us then is that by early 2025, we're going to be going to the Board of Water and Power Commissioners with a very extensive report on the master plan, but also we are also started working again on a programmatic environmental impact report. We had started this a couple of years ago. We put it on pause to work on the master plan. Now that we're almost done, LA Sanitation and DWP are working collaboratively and on the programmatic environmental impact report. Our goal is to have that completed by the end of 2025. Simultaneously, staff is going to be doing detailed route studies because in order to move this water, we'll require a lot of pipelines. So we're looking to find corridors within the city where we can actually install the pipeline needed to get the water all the way to Sylmar, which is where our filtration plant is. That effort is also taking place now, and it will be completed by the end of 2025. We're also ramping up our public outreach. I think in the last couple of months, we have gone out to every single council district, spoken to staff. We are starting to also be having public meetings. As a matter of fact, in December 3rd, I believe, we're going to be having a stakeholder engagement group meeting where we're going to be reintroducing now Pure Water LA along with sanitation. This meeting will take place at the Hyperion Reclamation Learning Center. And the idea is for us to speak with all the stakeholders about the changes that we've made and the direction that we're going to be taking moving forward with Pure Water Los Angeles. I also wanted to mention that collaboration with Metropolitan continues and is quite robust. As you know, they have their program called Pure Water Southern California. And what we're looking at is potentially being able to integrate the two programs so that in certain times when perhaps there's more water than we can utilize at the moment, it could be connected to their backbone system. Metropolitan has access to groundwater basins that we, Los Angeles, don't have direct access to. But we could get that water as a member of the Metropolitan Water District. The main reason why we want to do that too is because it really then makes Pure Water Los Angeles a regional resiliency program. And we believe that for us to be successful, we need to partner with as many agencies as possible. And if we can have a project or program that has a regional benefit, it'll also attract more funding opportunities to Los Angeles. And I'll take a pause there to see if there's any questions.
Thank you. This looks like good progress. Can you talk a little bit about the MOU and where you all are with that for the different agencies?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, do you want to start with that one, Barbara?
I can start.
Go ahead.
So we're, as you can see, we're transitioning from planning to implementation. And so we are using the guidance from the MOA that we use for DCT because we have to have an agreement on those things. So we're using that as a foundational, as I said, a blueprint to outline how we were going to proceed. So,
do you feel like you need a separate MOU for this new work, or can you just sort of rely on for the Pure Water?
It's twofold. Whenever there's going to be exchange of funding between both entities, that's where we're actually like identifying, through meeting in the climate cabinet, water cabinet with that the mayor's office is convening. We're identifying, solidifying what those issues are and what those areas that we might need an agreement and we might just use what we currently have. So,
if I can expand on that, I agree with Barbara. I think we can use a foundation from the Tillman program. I think the reason why we may have to have a little more is because Tillman is mainly about indirect potable reuse. Yeah. Pure Water Los Angeles, most of the water will be for direct potable reuse, which is a completely different thing. So I do believe that there is a need. When do we need to have that MOU that talks about, direct potable reuse? I think it could be done a little later. Yeah. But I think the foundation that we have with the Tillman project will help us. And we're using a lot of the principles already as we are working together. But we will, put this in a document and have an actual MOU. But we are working towards that.
Yeah, because, we've talked a lot about the things that, we weren't in agreement, the challenges, but a lot of that is for the later phases. So it's like, what are the early wins? And we're aligned on that front. Mm-hmm. So as we're proceeding with the environmental, since we're looking at applying for more funding for like phase 1 of the planning for Hyperion, and also looking at, what resilient improvements we're doing as we speak, so that we're prepared. So when that time, comes, the EIR finishes, we're upgrading the facility with, aging infrastructure that we needed to do anyways. So we're working in parallel path on that.
So it sounds a little bit like the water cabinet and the mayor's office is helping work through some of the challenges that might otherwise require some sort of an MOU.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yes.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. And they're also helping to, in the areas that, that decision points, have to be made. And realizing, So the short answer is yes. It's been very helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And what role have the new public Works Commissioners been playing in all of this, if any, and who has sort of expressed an interest in
So
engaging?
the two, as you know, DWP has 2 commissioners that participate in these working groups with us, and 2 from Public Works. We heard that Jenny Chavez, Commissioner Jenny Chavez, is going to be one of the people working on that front, and I think Susana Reyes will still continue, from what I understand, but those are the 2, I think, additional representatives.
Excellent. And what about on the DWP side?
On the DWP side, the 2 commissioners are Commissioner McGraw, who is the Board Vice President, and Commissioner Nuri Katz. Both of them have been engaged actually from the inception of this working group, so they're quite familiar and engaged with the work that we're doing.
Excellent. Thank you. Colleagues, questions? Councilmember Bloomfield.
Yeah, just curious, and thank you very much for this report. It's great stuff. Obviously, you mentioned the partnership with MWD, and I know the master plan is going to look into conveying the water. How much of this is potentially in jeopardy with what's going on at MWD right now and with the chair? And I mean, if they do change chairs, is there risk to meeting our water targets? And because it seems like that plays into, explain a little bit more about the interrelationship. What's at risk if Mr. Hashkele gets railroaded?
Well, I will say I've had a lot of discussions with Adela Hashkele, who is the general manager right now on leave at Metropolitan. But I've also been in a lot of conversations with Devin Upadhyay, who is the interim general manager. And I can tell you that both of them have expressed significant support for the Pure Water program. I believe that right now the Metropolitan Water District Board has some questions for them, or for Devin specifically, who's the interim GM. I don't think the program itself is in jeopardy, but I think the questions they're getting have to do with affordability as well, and looking at whether or not the way the program was set up for Metropolitan Water District was focusing 100% on indirect potable reuse, maybe a little bit of direct potable reuse. One of the questions I was asked by members of the board is whether or not they consider doing a more significant portion of it as direct potable reuse, and specifically pipe to pipe. In other words, taking recycled water, doing advanced treatment to it, and connecting it directly into your distribution system. That is, quite honestly, next level when we talk about the DPR regulations. So they're looking at that. And the reason why is because if you can do DPR and do pipe to pipe, it minimizes the conveyance that you need to send it to spreading basins. So they're looking at that. But as far as a commitment from Metropolitan staff to continue working on Pure Water SoCal, I have not heard anybody say that their commitment is wavering. As a matter of fact, I can tell you that there is a regional recycled water group or committee that Metropolitan Water District convened. We're a member of that, as well as other member agencies. And we just had a meeting recently, and we continue to meet. So I think right now their commitment is pretty firm. They're just trying to make sure that they have the right project and the right size project.
I hope you're right. I mean, the undercurrents that I hear about and what I worry about is that a lot of this water politics is caught up in their whole decision, and could have detrimental impacts on this and us moving forward. But I appreciate the optimism, but remain very concerned.
Councilmember McCosker.
Thank you very much for the report. This might be a little bit out of left field, and it's okay if you don't have an answer to this. But where are the county sanitation districts in this world? Do we have comparable things happening parallel to us through county sand?
As a matter of fact, yes, the Pure Water SoCal program that Metropolitan Water District is leading, that's a partnership with LA County Sanitation Districts.
Okay.
So the wastewater being treated to advanced purity levels is being done by the county sanitation districts. So they are the partners for Metropolitan Water District. So basically, the same way that LADWP and LA San are partners, Metropolitan Water District and LA County Sanitation are partners.
Okay.
So they are quite engaged in this.
So they would be captured on slide 8. We have the magenta dots that are showing us recycling projects, those are probably included in there, are probably the sanitation, the LA County sand projects?
I'm not certain what slide you're looking at, so I don't want to say yes for sure. My eyes are not
It's
that
okay.
good,
I mean,
but
you
but
gave me
yes.
the right answer.
Yes.
You gave me the answer.
Yes.
If it reflects the water being produced as part of Pure Water SoCal,
Yeah.
then yes, that involves LA County sanitation districts.
Great, thank you so much.
Sure.
Any other questions? All right, thank you both so much. Colleagues, I recommend that we continue this item until our next quarterly check-in. Thank you. We're going to move on now to item 4. Mr. Sutton-Wills, would you please read the item?
Item number 4 is a City Administrative Officer report relative to budget adjustments and new funding considerations for Proposition O Clean Water General Obligation Bonds for fiscal year 2024-25.
Thank you. I'd like to ask sanitation in the CAO's office to come forward for this one, for a brief verbal presentation. Welcome.
Good afternoon. This is Jennifer Lau with the CAO office. Today, I'm going to provide a summary for the Proposition O program, budget adjustment and funding consideration for fiscal year 24-25 report. First, Proposition O is a general obligation bond program for clean water approved by voters in November 2004 in the amount of about $500 million. So far, $439.5 million in bond has been issued, with remaining $60.5 million yet to be issued. On August 29, 2024, the Proposition O Administrative Oversight Committee and the Proposition O Citizen Oversight Advisory Committee has a joint meeting together, and they recommend the following items for the Council consideration and approval. The first one is the master schedule for fiscal year 24-24. Basically, they have 4 projects have a modified schedule from the last year's master schedule. And these 4 projects are Aliso Creek, Argo Drain, Taylor Yard G2 Water Quality Improvement, and Westwood Neighborhood Greenway. Basically, all 4 projects is recommended to extend the deadline for completion. The second item for Council consideration is the Aliso Creek project. They want to split the Aliso Creek project into 2 phases. The first phases will be proceeded with the original approved budget of $16.1 million. However, for the second phase of the project, basically need to identify a funding gap of $17 million. So the departments, both BO Engineering and BO Sanitation, will go out to look for funding sources, maybe looking for applying for grants to fill the funding gap. And the third item for the Council consideration is the Proposition O staffing appropriation for fiscal year 24-24 in the amount of $3.69 million. Lastly, I would like to turn over to the departments. They would like to provide an update on the Penmark Water Quality Phase 3 project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Brian Powell. I'm from the Bureau of Engineering. I'll be providing a very brief background on the Penmar Water Quality Improvements Project before I pass it over to my colleague from the Bureau of Sanitation. The project was approved by City Council on June 29th of 2007 with a total project budget of $23,585,000 in Proposition O funds. The project is located in Council District 11 and is situated along portions of Frederick Street and Rose Avenue, adjacent to the Penmar Golf Course in the Venice neighborhood. The project was designed to capture dry and wet weather runoff to assist in meeting the Santa Monica Bay dry and wet weather bacteria total maximum daily loads, and to implement an on-site disinfection and irrigation system for stormwater to be reused as irrigation water. In total, the project would capture stormwater from a 1,500-acre drainage area and up to 88.4 million gallons of runoff annually. With that, I will pass it over to my colleague from the Bureau of Sanitation.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Ida Maysami Fard with the LA Sanitation and Environment. The Propo Oversight Advisory and Administrative Committees invited us to share some of the struggles that we've been experiencing with reuse projects as a whole, and that's how we reported to them. In one part, these challenges stem from evolving LA County Department of Public Health guidelines for reuse. And as a result of recognizing these, LA SAN has set a goal to work with their agencies to find a sensible solution for reuse, one that would potentially lower water quality thresholds for projects with this intent. Together with the support of Mark Gold with the NRDC, LA County Supervisor, District 3 Horvath's office, and the County Department of Public Works, we've initiated discussions with LA County Department of Public Health to highlight the areas where the guidelines may be restrictive to reuse projects. I'd like to also mention that the challenges being experienced by LA SAN with the guidelines are also shared by agencies in the greater Los Angeles region as a whole, and they've prompted a county technical working group to collaborate on design and operation maintenance efficiencies for existing and future projects similar to Penmar. Aside from the county reuse guidelines, LA SAN has also worked to identify a more dedicated funding source for maintenance of reuse projects or projects that were initiated by Prop O, which historically is not able to fund O&M. We've identified municipal Measure W funds in order to bridge that gap, and we're working towards our filling workforce positions that would help to operate projects like this. We've submitted a fiscal year 25-26 budget request for the required classifications to enhance the stormwater side of the program. And that's my report. Happy to.
Thank you. Quick question. Would we be using our local return dollars for those positions? Or would this
Correct.
be? Okay.
Also, yes.
Okay. So first I want to thank you all for the presentation. I want to acknowledge NRDC and thank NRDC and Mark Gold for dedicating a lot of time and expertise and resources to sifting through the fine details of all this that I hope will put us on a path to getting our Propo spending at Penmar focused on real reuse. So it sounds like we're a bit at public health's mercy here. If we are unsuccessful at convincing county public health to change course, what does that mean for our Propo program overall and specifically for Penmar? Are we going to be able to deliver some kind of clean water benefit from the Propo dollars that went into the project?
Yeah, the project, the reuse component, I mean, there's two paths that you could take if we're not able to lower the county requirements. One is the project is set up to allow for sanitary sewer diversion of the stormwater, and that would have to be looked at very closely and timed correctly just to ensure the safety of the sewer system. But the intent is still there, the ability is still there. The project as a whole was also designed to meet a county reuse guidelines of 2011. The challenge was that those guidelines changed when we were in construction of the second phase of the project that allowed for the reuse system to be set up, which this project was not grandfathered in for. So we would be able to still deliver the reuse benefit. The phase 3 of the project was split up into 3 phases, was intended to bring the project up to the current guidelines and requirements, but it is, as we've worked through that, it's extremely cost prohibitive to go back and change something that we've already designed to. So there's still a path forward, absolutely. One would be a diversion to the sewer, the other one would be to upgrade the facility to meet the county health guidelines, or hopefully meet in the middle and be able to use the existing infrastructure to have maybe a more sensible approach that allows the reuse that we have, the treatment that we have there.
What's your sense of whether or not we're going to be able to come up with something with public health? Now
Yeah,
that
I'd
Horvath's office is involved.
I apologize. I'd like to report that we did meet with them, and it was at a high-level meeting. They were receptive to understanding more. They have also had some turnover there, and the high-level consensus was, hey, maybe we should take another look at this. And so they're currently doing that right now, and I think. You know, and I'd also like to thank Mark Gold as well. With his help, I think we have a good opportunity to get to somewhere that's a little more sensible.
Okay. Colleagues, questions? Thank you. Yeah. Councilmember McCosker.
I appreciate your questions, and I'm sure you're on it. It sounds like you're on to something really important. I just want to, without having to unpack all this Penmar stuff, which is right next to where I lived in law school, by the way. I lived right next to that golf course. Is this an issue that has applicability or concern for us across the county for projects like Machado Lake, projects in my district, the reclamation of water around Banning High School? I mean, is this something that you're looking at that the council member is giving guidance on that will be helpful to us throughout the city?
Yeah, most definitely. Around the city, we do have other stormwater reuse. So these guidelines are isolated for projects that intend to have spray irrigation of stormwater that they capture. So there are a couple other projects within the PROPER program that were implemented that do the same thing. I think where and those are around the different council districts. But it does not impact any project that is not capturing stormwater and then intending to treat it and use it on site for reuse. So some of the other projects mentioned and not mentioned have infiltration benefits. They have diversion benefits. Those will continue to be as is. It's a very small subset of the projects that we're trying to work on here.
I see. Very helpful, and thank you, Councilmember, for pursuing this.
Councilmember Blumenfield.
Sure. I mean, just one question. It's not about the four projects or the specifics. It's more of a 10,000-foot question, which is, this report's showing, and it seems like a lot of these stormwater projects are far more expensive than we originally anticipated and are taking longer. And I get that. And I'm wondering if we have enough resources as a city, first and foremost, to meet our legal obligations regarding stormwater and keeping the contamination out of our waterways. And then second, if there is a threat of the funding that we are getting, potentially from the federal government, that we're worried about how we're going to make up for that if they start pulling back. And then related to all those things, what is the consequence of all this? Are there projects in the queue that are going to fall off the queue? And have we looked at sort of what that's going to mean for the projects that are at the end of the line?
I think I'll tackle the latter part of your question first, and that has to do with the projects that are in the queue. Understanding that these types of projects may not have had the cost benefit that were originally intended, we don't want to disregard that stormwater capture is still a very important part of how we comply with our water quality regulations. So moving forward, we're recognizing that we're looking for alternative solutions and different alternatives to projects that still allow for that capture but don't necessarily reuse them on site. And by doing that and being kind of ahead of that, we'll still be able to meet our water quality requirements. As far as the federal funding goes, we mainly rely for the stormwater program on local funding, and so I think we still continue to be in good shape there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is great. Would you just keep us updated on how those conversations go and let us know if we can be helpful with that. I'd like to move that we adopt the recommendations in the CAO report. Can I get a second?
Second.
Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Certainly, Madam Chair. Councilmember Yaroslavsky.
Yes.
Councilmember McOsker.
Yes.
Councilmember Blumenfield.
Aye.
Councilmember De Leon. Councilmember Rahman. 3 ayes and the item is approved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other items before us?
The desk is clear, Madam Chair.
Excellent. Thank you all very much. Hope everyone has a lovely Thanksgiving. We are adjourned.